Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you see this live. This you got Ray coming to you live all the way from here. Where it's here, right here. Whew. Hey man, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, but I said I wanted to jump on. I want to keep this thing flowing. I want to just keep this thing flowing. I want to talk to my brothers, man. I mean, hopefully y'all can hear me real good. I can't, well, I don't want to get on all that. But listen, man's identity. I want to just share a few things, right? I want, because it's basically how we look at our value, or how do we judge our worth. So I had to realize my value, I was basing my value on other people's opinions. I was basing my value. Let me read this to you. Men so often define themselves by what they do, who they know, or what they own. And when they do so, they unwittingly set themselves up for great confusion and failure in their personal lives. Let's get honest real quick. Let's get honest. I had to get honest. Excuse me, man. My sinuses. I don't know if it's a sinus, but I'm going to press through. I'm not going. So please forgive me. I got my handkerchief here. Yeah, but there's still handkerchiefs. Men still use handkerchiefs, and men so often define themselves by what they do, who they know, and what they own. And when they do so, they unwillingly set themselves up for great confusion and failure in their personal lives, man. And that's so true. And I just got to say it for my personal life. And I'm gonna say this part right here, but we're gonna stay right there. But I'm gonna say this: a person gets his identity, or a man gets his identity in life based on how the most important person in his life sees him. Whoever that most important person is, how we try to live up to a standard that pleases them. What we have, who we know, what we own. And I'm gonna hit you with this last thing, and then we're gonna get going. Men would rather be envied for their material success than respected for their character. Woo! Man, only thing I know why that is so true. We talked about who we know, what we do, what we own. My value is based on the closest person, who I think the most important person in my life. And then both men would rather be envied for their material success than respected by their character. I look good, I smell good, I got the bling bling, I got the money, got all these things, but my character is jacked up. My shortcomings is all over the place, but it doesn't matter. Envy me for what I got. It's like, why am I basing all this stuff on outside stuff? See, my worth as a person has to do with my value. And my value should not be based on what you do, or what you have, or what you own. If I have and own, it's the same thing. Now let me read this to you. Your worth as a person has to do with your value. Your value is not based on what you do, but on who made you. My value is not based on all this material stuff that I have in my life. But for some reason, man, when I was younger, when I got that rib, tell you something, bro. Got that brand new rib, rolling through the city of Camden, couldn't tell me nothing. Had that nice job. Wifey was doing her thing, living in the better part of town. Bruh, how you looked at me mattered. felt important, right? Felt important. See, well, man, how you get that? Don't worry about it, right? But there was things going on in my household, right? There was things going on in my personal life, like that was real jacked up. There was drug use and abuse and all that stuff. But when I got in that rib, had my hat on, doing my thing, people was like, yeah, he doing good. But I was jacked up because I was basing my worth on other people. I look, my worth has to do with my value, right? And my value is not based on what I do, but who made me. I didn't understand my value was based on what God's impression of me was, what God thought of me, not of what other people thought of me. Huh. So when we start talking about manhood, we're talking about humanity. We're talking about being a man, not being masculine, but being a man of God, a man of purpose, a man of means, based on the person who made me, based on the God who made me. He didn't make me he made me before I had the cars and the money and all that stuff. That is just outside stuff. And I got caught up into this masculinity thing, this role that the way I supposed to be in society. But society says a man is, and how, how we look and the things that we do, right? Excuse me. See, because God is the one that gave us our existence. He's the one that gave us our very being. And you got to understand, we are here for a reason, and that reason is for a purpose. See, because God has a plan for our lives that is filled of meaning and purpose. That is filled of meaning and purpose. Think about this. Think about this. Right? Think about this. I sure hope I got my mic on. Yeah, I'm good. Man, let me tell you something. I thought being a man, being a masculine man, meaning like just getting it by any means necessary. Like when I was in them streets, man, and I needed to get that money, and I needed to get that dope. A real hustler. Woman told me one time, I was up in New York on White Plains Road. I said, man, if I had something to hustle with, I could go make me some money. Girl told me, if you're a real hustler, you don't need nothing to hustle with. You only need a thought. Man, I ran with that. I ran with that. Anything I could think of when I needed to get that money, when I needed to get that dope, that's what I did. I thought that's what a real hustler, you out there in the world, talking, man, I don't need, look, I go get my own. For some of us that was out there, you had that one guy or the one girl that always sat and just waited for everybody to come back and bring them some. Waiting. Didn't have an idea. Just wanted to get treated all the time. But I needed to get it in. Listen, chest stuck out. Cause I know I could look. Hey, whoa, man, what you gonna do, man? We got what you coming up with? I'm just saying. Brothers, therein lies the solution of our finding our true identity as men. And what are we talking about? Let me share this with you by Donald Miller. He said this: human beings are wired so that they need some great authority outside themselves to tell him or her who they really are. But for many people, that voice is not there. because their lives are not oriented towards God. What that is the case, the very first thing that will happen in their lives will be to question their worth and their value. Does my life really matter? And this is what causes us to begin to hide ourselves from others. On the End of My Road, you see that book coming out of Total Darkness. I actually finished that, right? Got to do some editing, did some editing, and it's coming. It's done, right? It's done. Well, it's done. The draft is done. So back then, I didn't see no value in my life. You see, I didn't think I was capable ever doing anything like living a normal life, being a productive member of society. I see no worth or value in my life because I was not connected to the one who made me. I was not connected to the source. I kept trying to use all these resources to fill the void that was in my life. And those resources just wasn't it. I needed not until I connected with the source did my life start changing. Not until I started connecting with the source did my life start changing. The true measure of a man. And let me share something with you real quick, and then I'm gonna get out of here. When we talk about a man's courage, Tim Keller put it like this: we all have a basic motivational drive. Every human heart has something that drives them. It gets us up through life. It moves us to what we do. And for most of us, I believe it is fear. What is fear? Because when people ask me what's going on in men's lives right now, I just tell them it's fear. We have a fear because we don't know who we are. We have a fear of falling short. We have a fear of hearing those words, get out. Fear, simply stated, fear is this. Fear is created by uncertainty over the future. Even if the ultimate outcome has only the slightest potential to be negative, fear can produce a complexity of emotions. It can be a powerful force for taking positive actions in our lives, or it can produce potentially crippling emotions. Wow. Our fear is generally nothing more than living out the future before it arrives and taking steps to avoid the negative outcomes we imagine are likely to occur. Projection is a premeditated way for resentment. Projecting is this thing. Because my track record says every time I try, I fall short. For 10 full years, I kept trying to get clean. I kept trying to get clean. My track record would state I would never get clean because every time I tried to get clean, I would relapse. I would relapse. But God had to reveal this to me. The fact that I kept trying to get clean showed that I wanted to get clean. Some of y'all, the fact that you keep trying shows that you really want it. If some of y'all are stuck in the drugs, some of y'all are stuck in this relationship, some of y'all are stuck in some stuff, right? The fact that you keep trying says you want to change. See, the enemy want to keep hitting us with them lies. Remember, remove the lies, replace with truth. It's the acting out of something that hasn't even happened. It's looking into the future, thinking you're God, predicting, projecting what's going to happen. And you get these images in your mind. Not only do we project, we actually see the outcome. Seeing myself being homeless, seeing myself being put out again, seeing myself losing that job again, seeing myself being homeless, seeing myself. It makes no sense for me to try to keep being clean. It makes no sense for me to keep trying to get a new job because every time I get a job, I'm only gonna last until maybe the third paycheck, and then I'm gonna mess up again. Projecting negative outlook. Imagine it's like stuck in my brain. Worrying. The word worrying comes from an old English word meaning to choke or to strangle. To choke your dream, to strangle your dream, to strangle your purpose, to strangle the plan that God has for your life. What I've seen so often is that fear and worry can indeed strangle the mind's ability to reason and think clearly. Why do you think you continue to keep doing the negative things that you're doing? I couldn't look thinking clearly every time I started to get high, thinking it was okay, thinking when my stomach started flipping, I had to get high to make it stop. My reasoning, I couldn't think clearly. Heart pounding, heart pounding, heart pounding. I need another hit. So what happened? I buried myself in the imagination in my mind, and worry became so natural to me. I allowed the enemy to just bombard my mind with all these lies about myself, and to the point where I didn't have to worry anymore. I just knew it was not going to happen. Anything good was going to happen to me. And most men, we don't know to deal with fear. I was letting fear run roughshire in my mind, controlling me, every avenue of my life, crippling me in multiple ways, not being a good father, not being a good husband, not being a good employee, not being a good friend. Because whenever economics was messed up, whenever the money was funny, I always listened. I always like fear creeped in. Time to live in the present with that who created us. Stop worrying about things that has not happened. You have to start removing the lies and replace them with truth. If you want to know who your identity is, you have to go to the manufacturer, who is God. Stop listening to the world system, masculinity, and your role as a man, and all these things that the world says you're supposed to be that you continue to fall short from, and you give up trying to live as a man. Stop telling our little boys you need to man up when we ourselves can't identify what a true man is. When we can't explain to our young men or young boys the proper way, what is manhood, when we don't know what it is ourselves. And look, this guy Ray coming to you live all the way from here. Where it's here, right here. I'll get back with you guys tomorrow, but I just want to continue to man, brothers, stop fitting into the stereotypical stuff that keeps making us fall. God has a purpose and plan for your life. There's something on this earth that nobody can do but you. So come on, hey, look, hit that like button, hit that share button, go over to my YouTube page, Exodus Life Change, Ray's Corner Live, hit the subscription, hit the notification, right? Got some business ventures also down the road that I want you guys to check into. But listen, every opportunity now, God is opening up doors for opportunity to hear your voice, to hear what you need to say, to stop cowering under these men of God who got their foot on your neck and not allowing you the freedom to be who you are in God. We need to go to God. You need to connect with the people who God has connected you with. There is a remnant out there for guys who've been off drugs, out of prison, and things like that. You got to stop hanging under these handkerchief head people, right? That's not allowing you to be. Listen, you're allowing somebody to rule you over the person who made you. I got to get out of here because that was deep. But look, this guy Ray coming to you live all the way from here. Where it's here. And like we always say at Ray's Corner Live and Exodus Life Change, God loves you and I love you. And guess what? Ain't nothing you can do about it. Peace out.